A big warm welcome to the Body Love Revolution online summit, building a better relationship with your body. So today I am joined by the beautiful Philly. So Philly is a co-founder of her multi-award winning health practice, Chris and Philly Functional Medicine, and author of Ending Body Burnout. Highly recommend the book, by the way. We'll be talking about that today. Yay, there it is. She is an accredited clinical nutritionist, functional medicine practitioner, coach, and trauma therapist. She's also a PhD scholar and regularly featured in media such as the Today Show, Forbes, Body and Soul. Together with her husband, Chris, Philly has worked with thousands of burnt out clients in the past, combined with 25 plus years of expertise. Their practice is best known for ending body burnout for good in busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues. With their root approach, cause approach, this is how that takes place. They were awarded as the Tasmanian state winner and national finalist for Telstra Best of Business Awards in 2022, as well as the winner for the Australian Women's Small Business Champion Awards in 2022. Philly's own passion for helping busy people with more energy, productivity, and connection came from her own personal experience of body burnout after juggling the demands of business, family, and her failing health. Welcome, Philly.
Thank you, beautiful Emma. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, so good to have you here. And like I mentioned in your beautiful bio, your book is pretty incredible. I have it very handy all of the time to look through, and I really love the way it's presented with Rose, Isla, and what's our other beautiful character?
Hazel. For a second, I'm
Hazel.
like, what is the other name?
What is it? And you know what? Hazel's my grandmother's name, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
I
right.
but I do love the way that it's told in a case study as well as weaved in with your own experience. So I really,
Mm,
really highly recommend your book, and it will be in our show notes. But today
thank
you are
you.
here to talk with us about relationship with body.
Mm,
And you have worked with literally thousands of people. And I do want to ask you, Philly, a broken relationship with self always impacts what you think and feel about your body. Can you share with us your experience of working with thousands of clients with burnout and their relationship with self and body, how that
mm.
impacts us?
Yeah, okay. Like at the heart of the work that we do, a broken relationship with self is what then eventuates and shows up as body burnout and the patterns that show up in that. So in burnout, a lot of people are running perfectionism, people pleasing, overdoing type patterns, and eventually their body systems start burning out and they are showing up with symptoms. So the root of that is a broken relationship with self. And like some people might be thinking, what does that actually mean? My definition is that you've had a falling out with yourself in terms of trust and safety. So a deep loving relationship with self, there's got to be trust and safety. If you think about relationally, like in real life, if you have a partner or a best friend or husband, wife, whatever it is, and you have a really good, lovely, nourishing relationship, there's going to be deep trust and a feeling of deep safety in that relationship. And that's essentially what I'm talking about with a relationship with self. So when there's that deep trust, that deep safety with self, and then that will then show up as love and acceptance, then happy days. Like your body is healthy, your thought patterns are healthy, your behavioral patterns are healthy. You might not be perfect, like we're still human beings experiencing stressors, but generally speaking, a person who has a deep trust with self and there's safety in themselves and their body will be generally a healthy, happy, well rounded human being, successful as well. So
Mm.
the broken trust with self generally happens before the age of 7. So we got to go right back to childhood. When you're born, there's no baby that is born thinking that they're no good or that their body or somehow they are broken or not deserving or not worthy. We are born and we have enough awareness of ourselves that when we cry, our needs are met. And that's what babies do. But between the ages of 0 and 2, a baby or an infant is starting to create about 50% of their self talk. And between, which is crazy, like think about 0 to 2, they're not really even verbally talking very well by then. Then between the ages of 0 to 8, 80% of their self talk is cemented into their unconscious mind. And so, if that self talk, which is essentially the deep beliefs they have about themselves, are healthy and nourishing and wonderful, then that will show up in the way that they think, feel, and their relationship with themselves and their body. But every child, there's no child who will come out of the ages of 0 to 7 unscarred in some way. And so essentially that broken trust happens the first time you accuse yourself that you're no good in some way, that there's something wrong with you. And it's usually minor events. Like for adults, we think about them as minor events where it might be you asked to get a lollipop and your mum said no to you. Or for me personally, it was standing up on a stage and I had a little talk that I'd memorized and that I wanted to say without reading. And the moment I got up there, mine went blank, couldn't remember anything, went beetroot red, completely embarrassed, humiliated, started crying, and then watched as all the other little kids came up and did their little perfect talks. And so in that moment, it was like, oh, there's something wrong with me. Like, I'm not like the other kids. What's wrong with me? And started creating beliefs around being weak and incapable and accumulated over time. So my personally, like my broken relationship with self, which has been restored now, but back in the day was created when I was 6 and I didn't even become aware of it until I was in my mid 30s. So I was living a life, and this is the same with all our clients, living a life of having these accusations, these unkind things that they're saying about themselves that are often hidden. And eventually it's going to show up in the body, both physically and then also how you start thinking and perceiving about your body. So I liken it to a tiger. These beliefs are not nice. They're not safe. So again, I'll use mine as an example. Weak and incapable. If someone believed they were weak and incapable or unlovable or broken or dirty or wrong or bad, that's like an internal tiger chasing you 24/7. And at some point, it's going to have some sort of dysregulation happen to your nervous system. And when your nervous system is dysregulated, that's where your body systems start breaking down and symptoms start showing up, whether that's physical or mental, emotional symptoms. So it impacts your relationship with your body in the way that your body is now behaving. But also these beliefs often trickle into what you think about your body as well. So again, take my example. I actually started believing, and it was all hidden, there was nothing conscious about it, that my body was weak and incapable. So I went on a 10-year journey of trying to heal my body, and things worked, but only for a time, or only if I wrapped myself up in like imaginary cotton wool. The moment that there was a little bit of extra stress or not enough sleep, or I ate something that might have been like a little bit inflammatory, my body screamed again and was very symptomatic and flared up, because deep down below in my unconscious mind, it's like, well, we're weak and incapable, so like we can't exist in this world happily. And I see that that's a massive block for people who have been on a chronic health journey trying to heal from chronic health issues. Is there's often beliefs around their ability to be able to heal, for their body's ability to be able to heal. Yeah, I've got a client at the moment. Actually, she messaged me this morning. So her deep belief was when she discovered it, and it was made when she was a little girl, and she peed or pooed herself at school in kindergarten. Again, like most kids, these things happen to a lot of children. But for her in that moment, it's like, I'm faulty. My body's faulty. And so, like you can imagine, or you could see how that would prevent someone from being able to respond to healing protocols if they have these deep beliefs about their body.
Yeah. Yeah. gosh, Philly, it is the root cause, because then we spend time, money, energy on this quest.
Mm,
And for me personally, when you're talking about this, this quest for you, it was, wrap yourself, and it was, and I know that we've, shared in the past, and it was very much a health journey. See, for me, it was about these absurd diets, this
mm,
quest to find the diet, whether it be Jenny Craig, the shakes, the cabbage soup diet, the this, the that. But in all of this was just giving my power away so
mm,
many times. And now, I've made a declaration that, in the past 2 years, no more diets. No one has the answer but me. And like you
mm,
say, the part is getting back to this root cause and saying, what is this deep-seated belief that I have that then drives my actions, or
yeah.
my seeking, or my quest, which in my experience has led me down so many ridiculous roads,
Mm.
which, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So it will show up in, yeah, like diet hopping, practitioner hopping, supplement hopping. I have a client at the moment too, a newer client, but it's like, I'm not responding to this, like it's not happening fast enough. What other tests? What other tests do you have for me? So in our practice, we run functional medicine lab tests. And I'm like, we're not doing any more tests because that's not the solution. Like, that's not where you're going to find the solution. We need to solve this over here or under here. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Um,
and it's taking radical responsibility.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the solution is inside of you, not outside of you. So
Yeah.
it can feel easier to just, go to a therapist or a naturopath or a dietitian or a doctor and just say, just like, fix me, give me the thing that's going to fix me,
Mhm.
as opposed to ripping off the band aid and saying, oh, actually, the issue's me. In a
Yeah.
really loving, kind, and courageous way. It's not like, oh my gosh, the issue's me and like what a
No.
failure I am and the shame and guilt. It's literally like that radical, transformative responsibility of like, far out the issues inside of me. And if I created it back then, like that belief, well, I can create something new because I
Yeah.
wasn't born with it.
Yes. Yeah. And like you say, Philly, it is a very loving, kind, compassionate journey of taking your power back. And that's been my experience with anti-dieting and saying no longer. And and I love that example of it's not happening quick enough or fast enough. But we've got to understand that it didn't, there's been years of this practice, and to unwind it, it's not about fast or quick. It's about
Mm,
sustainable, attainable, and the truth.
the truth.
The truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that's the truth. And I feel like in the world now that we live, we are bombarded with many different paths we could go down, or many different ways we can keep giving our power away. And
Mm,
I'll think from my experience, when you do give your power away and want someone to fix the brokenness, the root cause, which you haven't quite identified, yes, but it's good to just say a doctor, a naturopath, the next diet. It's great to give your power away for a certain amount of time, because you don't
mm.
have to take any responsibility then. Well, that didn't work. It's them, not me. It's the thing, not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, and there's part of that as a human being, it's okay to not have to take any responsibility, but
Mm,
it doesn't work. I mean, the truth is it doesn't work. And
yeah.
at
Well, it
some
ends up being a
point,
trap because then you're like, oh well, they didn't help me, so who else can help me? And it's like this treadmill, what's all hamster wheel of try the next thing, try the next thing, try the next thing. Oh, and this then actually feeds more stories. Because
yes.
then, if you've gone through a string of whether it's diets or practitioners or protocols, and like, let's say you're up to like 10 or 20 now, and it's like far out, like it's not nothing's working. Maybe there actually is something wrong with me.
Yeah, it
It's
can
all
validate
happening. Yeah, it's
a bad way.
validating the deep root cause belief.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in terms of identifying and addressing the root cause of body burnout, where would we start?
Hmm. There. So, I mean, in our practice, we don't necessarily dive straight into that straight away. Um, so And there's a reason for that. Like a lot of people who have had chronic health issues or are in like a deeper state of burnout, there's very little capacity left. There's a lot of overwhelm, there's a lot of exhaustion, there's a lot of confusion. Brain fog is a big one too. Like I can't even retain information. So we look at the person as a whole. It's like you're not just a physical body, but you're also not just a mental emotional body. Like you're spiritual and energetic, and you're a nervous system and a brain and neural pathways. So we're looking at all of you, and also like the deeper parts of you too, all the different parts of you that are little versions of you from your past and along your timeline.
Yeah.
um, and to help build that capacity back up to then actually do the deep work that we have been talking about, like this identifying like how have I broken relationship with myself, and where did that come from, and how is that showing up, and how can I repair that, is we look at the body systems first. So if someone's symptomatic, you can't have symptoms without there being some sort of body system imbalance. So when we can identify what's happening with your brain or your adrenal glands that secrete your stress hormones, or nasty pathogens in the gut, or looking at your detox pathways, and we can start supporting just gently, like it's not the band-aid, it's not the only thing, but it can help build up capacity, and it can help heal faster, heal the body faster. um, and then when that's in place, then it's getting to the deeper root. So why did the body systems burn out in the first place? And yes, lifestyle is a big part of it, and how we're moving our body and sleeping and what we're exposing ourselves to, our lifestyle. But deeper than that is the deepest fear that you have about yourself, this thing, this accusation that you made about yourself a long time ago that has become the monster underneath the bed. That is literally driving these patterns of behavior, thoughts and feelings and emotions that have then led to the body systems burning out.
Yeah. So the burnout, the body burnout, is the feedback from all of those systems saying that we can't continue any longer. Something's got to
Yeah.
give.
Yeah. So again, it's like twofold. It's both like a real physiological thing that's happened after being in a state of fight and flight, and like fighting and fleeing from yourself first and foremost, or being frozen to yourself or shut down. Like physiologically, that's going to have an impact on your body systems. But then on this other side, like the metaphysical side, it's the best part of you, the deepest part of you that wants the best for you. It's like, well, you're going to listen to pain. So when unconscious mind, deeper part of you, when I can like pull the levers over here physiologically, and now you're not able to get out of bed in the morning, or you become the dragon mum to your children, or you've got like gut issues and bloating, and you're not able to eat the foods that you used to. Humans respond to pain. So it's also both, like it's a loving message as well. It's not, your body isn't fighting against you, it's fighting for you. It's trying to help you return back to you and back to who you truly are.
Yeah. So it's listening to that feedback and not thinking it's against you, it's fighting for you. I love that.
Mm.
People have probably heard me say before, but I'll often talk about, I feel like it's quite hard, and my own experience, to get to self-love. And I try not to use the self-love too much, but I really love self-respect. And when you're just talking now, I was thinking that's almost having a self-respect attitude. My body's giving me feedback. We respond to pain, and then not beating up, going, what's the most respectful way that I can look at this, instead of making it, well, I've got to love myself, or my,
Yeah.
loathing, going, how can I respect this beautiful vessel? And what would that
Mm.
even be? And I feel like that's kind of waking up to the whole body burnout, is going, how can I respect this like we would someone else in our life,
Mm.
to
I
build that,
love, yeah, I love that too. I'm going to borrow that. Thank you.
of course.
Because sometimes like I've had clients, they'd be like, oh yeah, I just know I need to love myself. But it's like, hang on, if you don't even know where you've broken trust with self and what that monster underneath the bed is, and now all of a sudden you're going from whatever that deep fear is to, oh, I just have to love myself. It's a very big leap. So the respect is like such a beautiful kind of stepping stone to then be able to reprogram, to rewire, to create that self-love. It's like, okay, I'm a human being with this. I always think like awe. I love the word awe because it's like far out when you can understand this communication pathway of self and how the body's communicating to you. It is flippin' awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like you
Yeah.
might not love it yet. In fact, you might actually be really frustrated that that's how your body's communicating to you through pain. But when you get it, it's like, wow, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the respect, like the awe, respect. Yeah, I think there's actually more resourceful ways of thinking about your body than jumping all the way over to self love yet. Like,
Yeah.
obviously that's
Yeah.
where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that because that's exactly right. And if I think about my journey of years of dieting and the all or nothing approach and then the beating up because I fell off the wagon per se, none of that was respectful. And it
Mm.
just kept reinforcing that the trust was broken and I was not safe in my own self. I
Yeah.
couldn't be trusted anymore.
Yes.
That is a lot of the story. So self-respect and each day waking up and saying, today, if I was to respect myself, what would I do?
Mm.
What would I do? And
Mm.
it's not always, I also think of it a little bit like parenting. Like
Mm.
I know my beautiful children, they've moved out of home now, but I remember particularly Sonny, and he would want to have the internet on and game.
Yeah.
And I had to parent him and say, honey, I know you don't like this, but this is the most loving choice I'm making for you. The internet is
Yes.
being turned off tonight. And I've been known, psycho mother, to put the router in the boot of my car so he couldn't find it, like them
Nice.
hide it because he was, this is it's real with
Mm.
teenagers. And
Yeah.
oh, those days, thank goodness, he self-manages now. But
Yeah.
this was, and I often think of it like that is if I can be respectful and make the most kindest choice, it's like being a parent to myself. Like I had to
Mm.
parent my children. I didn't want to be their friend. I'm not your friend. I'm your
Mm.
parent, and I will guide you and make the most loving choices, which are really hard.
Mm.
Sometimes they're really,
Yeah.
really hard. And I
Yeah.
think of that with self-respect. I'm going to make the most loving choice, but it's sometimes a harder choice to make.
Yeah.
And I've got to hold steady
Yes.
like I did with
Yes.
parent. And two, when it comes to even being in your community, Philly, and supporting people,
Mm.
like parenting and sometimes getting the wobbles and wanting to give in because it's a path of least resistance and it's
Mm.
just easier having someone that you can turn to that can hold you for a bit when you can't quite keep the tension on it or
Mm.
you can't quite have that respect, that foresight. I think that's what I also love about books like yours and communities and programs like yours, because you've got someone there to hold you when you have got the wobbles, and
Mm.
the wobbles come often
Yeah.
when it comes to this, when you're wanting to look at the root cause or you're wanting to do things differently for your highest good and your higher self. It's
Mm.
not always easy though, from my own experience.
No. Well, like change is, what is it? There's a saying, it's easier to stay in a familiar hell than an unfamiliar heaven.
Yeah.
Because it's the way we're wired as human beings as well. It's like, oh, change is scary. Don't know what that's going to look like. Who am I going to be? How am I going to ruffle feathers? And then also, we're just very tricky human beings at like hiding from our own blind spots.
We do. And it's not conscious. We're wired this way just to a degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask how your relationship with your body impacts your life. So do you want to share a little bit around that? How do you think
Mm,
what we think about ourselves, and you've touched a little bit on it, how that impacts our life?
everything. um, oh, personally, for me, this is a good question. Well, because so my healing journey was over a 10-year span, and I tried different things, similar to like you with all the different diets. And there were also three main body burnout experiences that I had over those 10 years. So like the first time I'm like, I thought I solved it. And like second time it's like, oh my gosh, like the symptoms are back. Obviously haven't solved it yet. I have to go deeper. Third time it's like, really? Again? Like what else? I thought I know everything. I thought I healed everything. The third time, so the first time was more lifestyle nutrition. The second time was functional medicine. So, really doing like lab-based protocols, actually peering inside my body, seeing what was happening. The third time was the deeper metaphysical, repairing a relationship with self. And that was definitely the missing piece. So if I think about that trajectory, the biggest thing that made the biggest difference was definitely when I went deeper into restoring a relationship with self and creating trust and safety with my body. Before that, like my health changed, and my lifestyle. So if someone was peering into my house, my lifestyle looked very different in terms of, eating super healthy and whole food and like have EMF protection devices and cutting back on exercise. So like from those core kind of like healthy lifestyle things, that changed when I was physically healing my body. But not a lot else had changed in my life, if I'm being really honest. Like things changed, but only in a diluted way. So like I was a better mum because I wasn't so anxious and overwhelmed and angry. Similar in my relationship. Similar in my business, but it was only like maybe 20% better. The moment that I really restored that deep trust and safety with self and did that deeper inner work, everything like changed, and it felt like magic because things have happened really quickly. So our marriage got heaps better. Because if there's deep trust and safety with myself, then I can own the choice that I made many years ago. That was part of the pattern in my marriage, is that I was constantly thinking, oh, maybe I made the wrong choice with my husband, Chris. If there's a deep belief that I'm weak and incapable, then how the heck can I ever make a good choice? And there were strings of like poor relationships as well in the past that it's like, well, I've got a lot of evidence that I don't make good choices. So when that was solved, it's like, oh, it's like safe to just surrender into this relationship, and to nourish this relationship. And I wasn't triggered anymore because I used to take every little thing that Chris said, even if it was a good thing, like, hey, we should go do the, in Tassie, there's Cradle Mountain. If you heard of Cradle Mountain, it's kind of like an icon. There's an overland track, so a 7-day overland track. And one day, this was ages ago, but one day he's like, we should do that. And for whatever reason, it just triggered me. Like I was constantly getting triggered by his big ideas, or if he didn't do something, because it was reflecting back to me. This is my own sense making that like I'm weak and incapable. Oh, like I wouldn't be able to do that, or we couldn't spend money on that because if we spend money on that, then we're going to like go bankrupt. Massive money fears. Changed. Like, to the point that it's like our business started making money, like more money, and we hadn't even changed anything business strategy wise. So it's like, how the heck is that happening? And again, like the practicality was I deeply trusted and loved myself. So therefore I showed up with more authenticity and more confidence and more certainty. So even though like I had in the past, it's like, oh no, functional medicine works. I know it. But when I felt it, when I embodied it and went deeper into the metaphysical healing, then it's like I knew that it worked because I was the embodiment of it. And so people just energetically felt that certainty. And so then they're like, oh, well, this is a safe choice. This is a good choice to make, to work with Chris and Philly, because they know how to get me to where I want to be. So again, it wasn't like the business strategy changed. It was more the way that I was presenting myself changed. And I didn't even have to try to change that because it just changed. When unconscious changes, everything changes.
Mm.
Parenting better. I do a little laugh because we did a podcast episode with our kids, which airs today, of the day of this recording. And there was a question that asked, "Oh, who's your favorite parent?" Of course, my children said Chris. Because, don't they? Oh, I don't know. That's very generalization and stereotypical, but, usually the dad is like the fun one.
The fun one. My kids would say the same. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I said, "Do you remember what mum was like when you girls were little, though?" And my oldest did. And she's like, "You were horrifying. You were the dragon mum."
Oh.
She uses quite intense language. "You were horrifying." But she's like, "But you're a lot better now."
Oh. Mm.
Yeah. So, like, all the important areas of my life have changed because my relationship with myself and my body has changed.
Mm. It's it's fascinating to hear you look back, because always hindsight when we look back, but
Mm,
3 significant body burnout that you experienced, and how it was the external, and you felt like, yep, I've changed. Like, like you said, you could peer into your house and see all of these things that you'd changed, but it was only 20% of the shift. Then the next, it's almost like mind, body, soul, or
yeah.
it's that evolution. But I guess that's not to be, wherever you're at, whoever's listening and wherever you're at, you're right on track. We need
Mm,
to have this feedback to make adjustments, because I wouldn't imagine you can't. It, it's an evolution. And like you use the word embody, I love that word. It's
mm,
gradually embodying these things and keep going and
mm.
unfolding each layer. It can't all be done at once. And the chicken or the egg, it doesn't matter whether or not you make some metaphysical shifts, or then you make the physical, whichever way it goes. I'm sure for everyone it could be different, that
Yeah.
it could be the chicken or the egg. And I know at different times in my life, I I start where I start, whether it be committing to, I've had little stints where I have a commitment where I do a certain amount of, I do 10,000 steps a day, and it doesn't matter about anything else. Once that falls into place, everything else falls into place. And then sometimes it'll
Mm,
be something, it's chicken or egg, but it's the practice.
yeah.
And like we say, the word self-respect, keep respecting ourselves, which way it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a
I can't
process.
remember if there's a question around this, so just like tell me if I'm jumping ahead.
Go
But
ahead.
but even now, so thinking about body as well, and better relationship with body. So my body has always been my compass. But even now, again, we're human beings, dynamic, emotions, stressors. It's my body that governs my relationship with self now because it's very clever at sending me signals, and they're not loud signals anymore. Like, loud signals used to be like a panic attack or a histamine intolerance or chronic back pain, and I can't pick up my kids back when they were little. To now it's like learning the language of my body enables me to be in alignment with self, because if I'm kind of like going off track a little bit, early signs will be sort of just like a little bit of chest tightness or a bit of tightness underneath the diaphragm, or if I've been on the computer too long, which will be an overdoing pattern. It's like my eyes start getting tired. So there's these little signals that aren't saying, "Oh, you've broken rapport with yourself again." It's really just like, "Hey, Philly, remember here, remember who we are. Let's have a break now, or let's have that conversation that needs to be said, or let's make that change in the business, or change in parenting, or whatever it is that my body is communicating to me."
It is the barometer, and that's the part that is our work, is to be finally attuned to those things and not override,
Mm,
like you say, in the past patterning. And I know, I absolutely understand what you're saying, the constant overriding the feedback you're getting, instead of stopping and going, oh, having a little bit of feedback here through my body.
yeah.
Stop, take a little moment, because how many of us have, and those listening, I'm sure people are identifying, how many times have we override, and maybe right now at this moment overriding. And only speaking from my own experience, sleep would, to get things done, lessen sleep,
Yeah.
not choose a nutritious meal, grab something on the go when it's okay to actually stop and sit and eat. And I
Mm.
feel like too now in this world where we are so bombarded with outside, it's really easy to consume so much content and be bombarded with things and not actually stop, because the body's trying. And like you say, it's often just a whisper.
Yeah.
If we are constantly bombarded, we cannot hear the language of our soul or the language of
Mm.
our body. And that is really what we're here to do, isn't it? Is to
Mm.
listen to ourselves, to keep going.
Yeah. And it is like it's a forgotten language and it's squashed out from an early age too. If you think about a baby, babies burp and fart and, they're not saying sorry, or there's not an adult saying stop doing that. Even those innate bodily functions, we override as we get older because it's not appropriate. And
Yeah.
so, if those like quite visceral, primal, like things that just need to get out of being overridden, then you can imagine how these more subtle signs of bringing, like helping you to come back into alignment, like that's going to get overridden too, because it's more subtle than I need to burp, but I'm
Yes.
holding in the burp.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, it's funny. I was talking to a client the other day and she was talking about exactly this, overriding things. And we were talking about the diet culture. And she said how many times I would go to bed at night hungry,
Mm,
because I would just go to bed now because you're hungry, instead of eating, because she was
wow.
sticking to a plan. And there's that movie I often think about too, that movie, Overfed and Undernourished. I think now we're underfed and undernourished. The
Mm,
diet culture, and particularly for certain women, and speaking about even, the latest rage, which is the diet injection that everyone's
mm,
using. And
yeah.
I think about that, and I think, from what I understand, is it does two things, which is suppresses your appetite
Mm,
and slows down your digestive system in some people. And I
mm,
think straight away, why would I want to turn off my appetite? That's our
mm,
body talking to us, saying you are
mm,
hungry. And
mm-hmm.
I'm assuming, Philly, and I'm just a layman woman here, if I'm going to turn off my appetite, I'm pretty sure
Mm,
there's a pretty significant knock-on effect in my body. We are such a unique solar
mm,
system where everything is dancing and working together. I'm assuming that if I'm going to just turn off one part of my body, which is my appetite,
mm.
how the heck am
Yeah.
I going to listen to my body when I'm actually hungry? And slowing down digestive system, again, back to the farting and burping. I do not want a slow digestive system ever,
No.
ever, ever.
Constipation, bloating,
Oh,
chronic pain, diarrhea. The
yeah,
appetite's interesting too, because if you have no appetite, so regardless of whether you're doing the
yeah.
weight loss meds or not, but that's a sign that your body's in fight flight, and it's actually switching off, like it's putting you into a famine state. And so the appetite is a beautiful piece of information to say you're safe and you're balanced and you're healthy and you're well, because you want food. We don't
Yeah.
want food when the tiger's chasing us. That's when all the blood flow and all the nutrients get like sent to our limbs and away from our gut. And so yeah, it like I'm a little bit worried, to tell you the truth, around that there's no long-term research and the impact
Mm,
that certain medications may have on the body.
yeah. And it for me, again, it's been romanticized,
Mm,
as all diets are. It's
mm,
romanticized as the quick fix. And even I was listening to a celebrity the other day, or I read what a celebrity said, and even just the language. And this celebrity is really influential, particularly on women.
mm,
And she said, I love the fact that I'm taking this and it stopped all the food noise. And I now can think like a skinny person, because when food comes my way, I can say no to it. And I thought to myself, firstly, think like a skinny person. What does a skinny person think like? What does a fat person think like?
can I
Second,
say I'm a skinny person? And
yeah,
I love food. Like I'm
yeah,
thinking about it all day. I'm thinking about my next meal that I'm going to make and when I'm going to have it.
yeah. So even that flawed, right? As a skinny
Yes.
person, yeah, flawed, right? And then
Uh-huh.
it stops all the food noise. And I thought, well, actually, no, it hasn't stopped anything. You turned off your appetite. And you are, and I know from my own experience when I've done, I was talking, this client and I were talking the other day, and I was saying to her, I had success, and she said, so have I, on the shake diet. Are we still having the shakes now though? No, because it was unsustainable. We both have had success on Jenny Craig, the pre-packed food where you don't have to think, you just eat this shit food microwaved. It's not even food.
Yeah.
And I said, are we still doing that now? No, because it's unsustainable, because we can only, for so long can we continue to give away our power. At some point, like you're saying, feeling this way, I love your work so much, the root cause, you cannot, it drives everything. So we can run, but we can't hide.
Yeah. Yeah. And the appetite's a great example of, well, if I can take something to switch that off, it's like you're switching that off, but you're also suppressing why the issue's there in the first place.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they're like, it's traumatic to the body.
It is traumatic to the body and to the self again, because it's still not repairing the trust. Still deep at the core says you actually can't be trusted with your appetite. You actually can't be trusted. So we need to manage you. And this, that's my internal thoughts here totally coming out. I know that story so well of we need to actually disempower you because we are not safe. You can't be trusted. And that's not fun for it, because it does play out, like you even gave the example of, it plays out cranky mum or being really concerned in your relationship. That internal self and what you think about your body not being in harmony with your body and not being in harmony with your soul feeds out to every relationship with your life. And we're cutting ourselves off from so much joy and connection to self, connection to others. We don't get away with it.
Yeah.
We just don't.
It's, yeah.
So, Philly, if you were to share just a little practical strategy for becoming your own self-healer, what can you share with our beautiful listeners today about being your own self-healer and a practical strategy?
Definitely comes back to the body as the compass. So if you can create space to listen, you have all the answers inside of you. That's probably the hardest, like the biggest block for a lot of people is creating enough safety to be able to listen. Because if I listen, one, either what am I going to find and am I going to not like what I find? Or the other one is, once I know, then I'm going to have to do something about it. So listen, but probably even before that, create safety to be able to listen. And sometimes that requires, like, okay, this sounds a bit counterproductive, but it's almost like sometimes the pain needs to be even higher for you to then, like, for that impetus to then be there to be able to create safety to be able to listen. Because otherwise it's just like a lot of people are walking around with their fingers in their ears. It's like it's easier not to hear. It's easier not to hear. It's easier not to hear until it's actually harder not to hear. And you can do that. You can do that without waiting for your body to scream louder at you. You can do that by, okay, again, this will sound weird, but it works. Kind of like if nothing changes or if things get worse, and I imagine my life in 5-10 years time, how does that feel? And like, what actually could be the worst case scenario of that? And if that doesn't like dial up the pain to then want for something better and then to be able to do the things or be the person to get that thing, then yeah, you'll probably have to wait until your body screams, because it will.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You'll do it till you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's
And
taking. Yeah.
And there might be other pain points too. It might, if someone's listening and they're like, oh, like, I know, maybe my health feels okay, but there might be pain in your relationships or there might be pain in your finances or in your business. It's all coming back to the deepest root. So whatever that pain point is for me, and you know what, the thing that really drove me to healing the deeper parts of me, it wasn't actually the third body burnout and my symptoms popping up. It was money worries that was actually then causing a lot of stress and then having a physiological impact to my body. So I had to lean into, well, what's causing most pain? It's like, that's causing a lot of pain because it's impacting everything else. And it wasn't the money that I had to solve, it was my relationship with self that I had to solve.
Because your money is just an extent, it's just a symptom of what's happening internally.
Yeah.
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 I do love your wise words, Philly, that we have our own answers. I guess what I think there is, my word this year for 2025 is courage.
Hmm.
And I keep reminding myself daily that it takes courage to keep uncovering what this body story is for me and this relationship with self. But I
Mm.
do know I've got no more diet fight left in me. I've got no more quick fix left in me. And I'm certainly not throwing money at dumb shit anymore. And
Yeah.
that's a decision I've absolutely made. But I must also say that the last 2 Januaries, what's been fascinating for me after being a dieter for 20, since I've been 16, I'm nearly 50, is getting to January and breaking up with diet culture, breaking up with a quick fix solution, because it's
Mm.
been such a pattern in my
Mm.
life, which I've found it's almost like it's a shift in identity.
Mm. Yeah.
Shift in identity
Yeah.
and embracing that and
Mm.
learning to live with a new version of Emma who is slowly taking her power back. And exactly like you've said, you actually
Mm.
have your own answers. You actually know how to nourish yourself. You do not need to slow down digestive system, turn off appetite, deprive. It's not, that's not where it is. That's not
Yeah.
where the answer is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, just around that as well, health comes in all shapes and sizes. So it's not in a size 8 or 6. I don't know if people are like trying to get there to 6 these days. But you know what? Like it's like if you feel healthy, if you feel happy, if you love yourself, you trust yourself, if your blood markers are generally pretty good, it's like great. Like that's health.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you say that too, Philly, because there is a part of me that has grappled a lot with that,
Mm.
being in a bigger body and grappled with that because every time that you go to the doctor, um, the first thing that they will say is get on the scales and that,
Wow.
yeah. And
Yeah.
even no matter what kind of and I hear this from clients, and if they could go to the doctor with and they stub their toe or have an ingrown toe, now it's because you're overweight. Like they could
Mm.
go for anything and they bring it back to that. Yeah. And I hear
Wow.
some of my women and just the heartache, because again, that just validates that you can't be trusted and you're useless and whatever
Mm.
your root cause is,
Mm.
it's that validation when knowing that I have, as you know, had a yoga studio and I know my level of yoga practice and my level of well-being and still being a size 14.
Mm.
It is my shape, it is who I am, but knowing that I feel really well practice yoga and even had stints of no alcohol and stints of all sorts of stuff, knowing,
Mm.
no, my energy is really good. And I am like an energizer bunny. I can keep
Mm.
going, but I'm also right now in a bigger body. And then menopause, which is a whole nother conversation,
Mm.
shifting even the way my body is, and then having to readjust and get to know her again to
Mm.
adjust this next part of life. Yeah,
Yeah.
she needs different things. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's seasonal. So what
it
what
is.
might have felt really good in the past might not in the future. And so it's being able to change as you change.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fine-tuned little
Yeah.
little orchestra. So
Yeah.
Philly, thank you. I'd love for you to please share. I always love chatting to you and I love your podcast. I love your work. It's just wonderful because it's empowering. It's so empowering.
Thank you.
Billy, can you please share with our listeners where I'll put it in the show notes, but can you share? I know that you've got that beautiful diagnostic tool, which I love, which you go and
Yeah.
do your measure. Are you happy to share? The link
Yeah.
will be in the show notes, but are you happy to
Yeah,
share
cool.
what we've got, where people can
Yeah.
find you? Of course, we've got your gorgeous book,
Yep.
and we have got your website, but please share where people can find you and what you've got happening, please.
Yeah, cool. So all the bits and pieces will be found on our website. So www.chrisandphilly.fm. So that's CHRISANDFILLY.FM for functional medicine, just to like be a little bit different. So yeah, on our website you can check out my book, Ending Body Burnout. So it's a functional medicine guide for busy women with energy, mood, and gut issues. And the scorecard that Emma was talking about is our Ending Body Burnout assessment. So that's a scorecard that you can take. There's a bunch of questions, and at the end, you get a report that looks at your state of body burnout or level, but it also looks at the three root contributors. So, what's happening in your mind, in your habits that support your body and physical health, and also in your environment. So, it's really handy tool where you can kind of see where are the weak links, what might I need to focus on, and also what am I doing really good at that I don't need to like focus on that anymore. There might be other areas I need to focus on.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, definitely go and do that beautiful scorecard. My husband and I both did it, and it was just a great bouncing off place because it is actually quite refreshing to know some parts are going well, and there's just some other
Yeah.
little areas, which is also validating.
Yeah.
So Philly,
Yeah.
so yes, listener, all of Philly's information will be there, but definitely check out her book and all of her beautiful resources because it's well worth us getting to the root cause and taking our power back and being really kind to ourselves. But thank you, Philly, as always, an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. I love you and your
Love
work
you.
too.
Love you, my friend.